everyone, it's Roxy and welcome down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. Today we're going to answer a big question which is fundamental to understand Bitcoin as a network and an alternative to the financial system and freedom, which is why you shouldn't use a custodial exchange. So basically, why you should have control of your key. It is really important, and I'm gonna make a shit ton of video explaining you this concept, because the more we talk about it, the more people are gonna listen, and the more people take control of their key, the stronger the network is gonna be. The answer, if you want to make it short, is that if you do not have control of your key, you do not have Bitcoins. And if you leave your Bitcoin on an exchange, there is a lot of different threat models that can be applied against you. First of all, your fund can be frozen, either by the exchange, by the government, by any regular agency, all of that. So the first big red flag for you is that because you do not control your money, it can be froze in time of crisis. And you're gonna say, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong, so why should I bother that they freeze my money? I mean, if I don't do anything wrong, why would they freeze my money? But you get it backward. It's not because you did something wrong, it's because they did something wrong. At some point, they're gonna have to freeze the assets of the people of that country to compensate for the money printing, the inflation, the financial crisis, etc. So because the system is so bubbly, because the system is so close to the collapse, the day it is gonna go south, they're gonna have to seize most of the liquid asset they can find their hand of. And your money is going to be one of those. And so if you do not have your key, if you do not remove your money from the exchange, it is really easy to seize it. And that's on the good side scenario, meaning that you didn't do anything wrong. If you just are opposed to the government and they are like kind of authoritarian and they don't really like you or your political point of view or what you said in the social media, they can freeze your account and you lose access to your money. So the first point, which is like freezing the account, is, in my opinion, good enough and a reason enough to remove that. The second reason is obviously efficiency. It is so much more efficient to use Bitcoin or Lightning than an exchange. Imagine that. Every time you want to withdraw your money from an exchange, you need to pay between, let's be nice and say $10 to $25 on Binance. $25 every time you want to move your money. We are not on Ethereum here, we are on Bitcoin. The fee are way lower. Come on. So every time you literally want to just use Bitcoin, pay someone or send some money, you have to pay some insane withdrawal fee because you're not using the correct Bitcoin. That is also just a financial reason, if you're not scared about the liberty aspect, to withdraw your money. Third reason, privacy. Like literally, you are giving your money to someone and you are asking him permission every time you want to use it. That means that person is gonna know every single transaction you do. Maybe you don't care about privacy, but it is really important. It's one of the ethos of Bitcoin. Having control of your money, not asking for permission, and try to get back some privacy so you don't have some big tech GAFA type of company inspecting everything you do. So if you withdraw your money in a lot of different addresses and you use like a lot of different exchange and try to do it non-KYC, you can basically hide the amount of Bitcoin that you own more easily than if you have everything centralized in one exchange. So just for that, please withdraw your exchange. Fourth, it is that if everyone leave their coins on an exchange, you can easily recreate some fractional reserve currency, fractional banking system. So you can easily trick people to think that they have the money, but they do not have it. Example typical, let's say you have a lot of money on Coinbase. I would not recommend Coinbase, of course, but let's say you use Coinbase and a lot of other people are doing the same. So there's literally thousands of Bitcoin on Coinbase, million and billion of dollars. And they all tell you, don't worry, we have your money. And everyone believes that, exactly like the financial system right now, the banking system right now. And at some point, there's a bank run, and you decide to remove your money from Coinbase because you believe that the government is going to try to freeze your fund, or because you want some freedom, or because you want to use it. And suddenly, because everyone is doing that at the same time, they tell you, hey, sorry, we actually sold more Bitcoin that we actually have in our reserve. Meaning that basically you are not holding Bitcoins, you are holding a paper Bitcoin. You are holding a contract, a promise that you have the Bitcoin. but realistically, you do not have anything. You do not own anything. Fourth or fifth or seventh, whatever it is, it's more on the altcoin side or fork side, because I don't think for Bitcoin it is this important, but still I'm gonna say it, even though I don't like talking too much about shitcoins. You do not have any voting power about the protocol. For Bitcoin, the nodes are in power, but let's say we have a big fork one day for X or Y reason. Basically, because you do not own your key, you do not own the fork. That means that, imagine, and I don't think it's a good, it is a good example, but I don't apply my example. Imagine you were on the Bcash side, because your money was on an exchange, maybe you're not gonna have access to those Bcash simply because the exchange own your coin. So if there's a fork, you don't get the money. Now imagine it's the opposite side and there's some like shit in your Bitcoin and you want the original one, whatever the scenario is, you won't be able to, because simply you do not own the fork. They keep the money. So they double the money because of the fork and you do not have nothing. So just for that, if you hold any crypto, remove them. The biggest point is simply about the philosophical aspect of Bitcoin. The ethos of Bitcoin is to be sovereign. The ethos of Bitcoin is to be in control, to say no to the financial system and to regain your sovereignty. If you leave your Bitcoin on an exchange, you are basically doing none of those. You do not have sovereignty, you do not have privacy, you do not control anything, and you let the system replicate. It is literally one of the worst things that can possibly do. So it doesn't take a lot. Create a wallet. We have a lot of tutorial on the channel, and you press withdraw and you withdraw. You're also not subject to hacking. I haven't talked about that aspect too, but like, imagine you think that you are safe simply because you have a 2FA and a password manager. Well, maybe not. If I have access to your ID because I have access to like a hacked database of like all the ID, I can maybe with some social engineering make me be you basically and go through all the process to recover the account on your behalf and steal the fund at the end. So you can be hacked, and at some point, even if you do not get hacked, even if the account doesn't get frozen, the exchange it's gonna be hacked because it's a honeypot of Bitcoin. It's so much nicer for a hacker to try to get inside one of those big custodial services and hack the honeypot than hack you individually when you store your Bitcoin correctly in a hardware wallet. So at some point, you are taking a lot of risk for very few conveniences except laziness and for a higher price, because you're gonna pay for that at the end of the day. Either you pay because they keep the Bitcoin for you, or they're gonna invest those Bitcoin for you, so you're taking an uncalculated risk on it. It is just bad practices. You should really, really withdraw your Bitcoin from an exchange. It is not a joke. It is something that you need to take control. There is a lot of resources on how to do that. It is easy. You can do it. My grandma is doing it. My little sister is doing it. You have no excuse not to do it. Sorry to bring it again on the table, but truly it is something that we need to say and say and say over and over again until people actually do it. If you want to have Bitcoin succeed, withdraw your Bitcoin from exchanges and take control of your key. I'm Roxy. Thank you for my Patreon to support. If you want to support, it's up, down in the Patreon. You can also donate in Bitcoin, obviously. Stay safe, keep your key secured. There's a lot of tutorial on the description or on the website, thebitcoinrabbithole.com. If you need help, here we go. See you. Kiss, kiss. Bye, bye. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on the social media, and if you want to support my work so I can keep producing formation, video tutorials, games in French, English, and Spanish for free, you can do so with the e-commerce, Bitcoin or Lightning donation, or directly through a Patreon for fiat. Thank you, and I will see you around. Bye bye.